Hey listeners, welcome to our M&T Tech podcast, a space where we can chat about all things tech related and really get to know the people behind the scenes of M&T Tech. I'm your host, Mayan McRory. Thank you for joining me today as we get to know M&T technologist, Jessica Caterin. Jess, thanks so much for joining us today. Tell me a little bit about yourself and how you came to M&T.
Thanks for having me on here. I'm Jess Caterin. I am a part of the corporate technology department within the bank. I've been at the bank for 6 months now. I started in August of 2020. I've been a software engineer for 11 years now and have led a team of software engineers for the past 5 years. My title at the bank is a technology team lead. So I have 2 teams of software engineers, quality engineers, and configuration engineers.
So the team that you have is all technology, right?
Yes.
What's it like being a software engineer as a woman?
Well, I will say at the bank, it's much more diverse than anywhere else I've ever worked. So the first company I worked for, I got there my first day and I was the only female software engineer.
I would be interested in diving a little bit deeply into being a female in an engineering world that's typically filled with men and what that must be like.
I went to Hutch Tech High School in Buffalo, and it is an engineering school. So in high school, I had no idea really that the engineering field was male dominated. My vision was skewed since in high school is, kind of half and half. So that's where my engineering journey began. And then I went to UB for electrical engineering, and my first class, which the class sizes are pretty big there, I think I walked into a class of 200 students and realized maybe a handful of them were women. That was really eye-opening for me. I mean, I became accustomed to it all throughout college. And then my first job, I was the only female software engineer. I didn't really, I guess, notice anything at the time. But then now that I reflect back on it, I did always kind of feel at first that I needed to prove myself. I just had some internal doubts. The other workers thought less of me, I guess. Maybe I wasn't smart enough. So I found myself always trying to prove myself and going above and beyond in order just to feel equivalent to all of my male counterparts.
And do you feel that way at M&T?
No, and I don't know that it's necessarily because of where I work. I think it's more so because I've been in this field for 11 years that I'm just kind of used to it.
You know your stuff.
Yeah, I do think that it kind of just came with time.
Why did you choose M&T?
I first started hearing about M&T in the news that they were growing their technology department and were building out Seneca One Tower as a tech hub. So I thought that was cool. They were going to have this collaborative, cool space to work. And I also knew a few people who worked at the bank, and everyone I knew worked there for a long time, which was different than the other companies I had previously worked for. So I thought that was unique. Bank must be doing something right to keep employees working there. And I also noticed that the culture is a lot more diverse. So as a woman in software engineering, I was used to being, very outnumbered, but everyone I interviewed with, I just noted that the team makeup was diverse.
Do you think that diversity changes the dynamic of a team? Does it change the work that you do?
I absolutely think it helps. I think the more diverse, whether male, female, or any diversity brings different ideas to the table.
Absolutely.
So, a more diverse team brings different input and different ideas. So when you're working on a project in general, that collaboration and just hearing many people's input leads to better solutions.
Tell me about the enduring capability or the product that you're currently working on at M&T.
I am the tech lead for a cloud solution and the user interface for it. What we're trying to do across the whole program is really for optimizing spend management within the bank. And all the tools that we're creating are going to be used by employees. I find that really rewarding trying to enhance efficiency and user experience for coworkers. It is so much better.
I'm sure the entire workforce is really excited for a new solution. Jess, how have the events of 2020 influenced your technical career?
I actually had a baby in 2020 and I switched jobs during the pandemic. I came to the bank late last year. So, in terms of affecting my technical career, I knew I wanted to make a move. And so it really made me think about looking for a company who handled the pandemic well and treated their employees respectfully. And also, so I did have a baby, and trying to juggle that while working remotely is crazy for anybody. I was hesitant anyway to switch careers in the middle of a pandemic and while pregnant, but I had heard really good things about the bank and knew a couple of friends who made the move. So I was able to learn about the maternity policy ahead of time, which I'm sure I could have asked the recruiter anyway, but all of that kind of helped my decision.
Right. Did you feel like you were pretty well supported once you did make the move?
Absolutely. I did let the recruiter know ahead of time. I just wanted to make sure that the team I was joining was aware of it because I was going on maternity leave 2 months after joining. So I did want to be upfront about that. And they were like, absolutely, we want you. Come on. That's plenty of time to get you settled into the role, and just making me aware that it's short term and they want me there long term.
Have you been able to find balance with a young family?
Yes, I think everyone's kind of playing the juggling act right now. And I think we're all aware and accepting that people have different situations at home right now. I'm actually probably have it easier than anybody else on my team, where others have kids at school age. So they're trying to manage remote learning online during the middle of a workday. Luckily, my little guys aren't school age yet. But in general, the team is just very accepting that everyone kind of needs time to juggle.
Yes, I can tell you that my family life is often mixed with my professional life right now. So people have often seen my kids on camera.
I love when I see people's kids on camera. It brings a little joy into the workday.
That's awesome. And do you think your relationships are stronger with your team members than they have been maybe in a different company where you didn't have the potential to kind of see into everybody's home and get to know them in that new way?
I do miss the in-person interaction and team bonding in that sense. But you're right, this has brought a different perspective in bonding, that we're all in this together. And like you said, literally seeing each other in home life.
Yes, definitely interesting for sure. Okay, so back to M&T. Now, if a friend were considering a career move to M&T, what would your advice be to that person?
My advice would be, well, go for it. What I have learned is that M&T provides continuous career growth opportunity. And, perhaps that's why employees stick around for so long. And I would challenge them to assess how other companies treated their employees during the pandemic.
And what are your career goals?
I think the reason I kind of am in this technology team lead role is because I am a super technical person. I always enjoyed coding, but I was also good at the people side of the job too, and gathering business requirements. And I kind of always wanted more than just heads down coding. So I guess my career goal would just be getting better at my current role. I do love the mentoring aspect of it. I've started with my new team setting up design sessions to see how they'd approach a problem. I love things like that, and just encouraging them to program with each other.
That is awesome. Jess, thank you so much for taking time today to tell us a little bit more about what it's like to be a software engineer at M&T. I hope that whoever's listening to this is interested in all of the upcoming roles in technology, and just in general here at the bank, it's a pretty exciting place to be.
Agreed. Thank you so much for having me.
You are very welcome. All right, listeners, thank you so much for sharing your time with us today as we got to know more about what it's like behind the scenes of M&T Tech. Until next time, be well.